We are trending sort of everywhere. We are number 7 on Apple Podcasts overall. We are number 10 overall on Spotify podcasts. And this is just the first week of the show, only episode 4. So exciting. But we are also trending all over Twitter and on the internet and on YouTube because I had an appearance on Piers Morgan last night. It was supposed to go for 30 minutes, but it went for an hour and a half. And this is what happened.
Why did you leave the Daily Wire? A lot of attention's been focused on you constantly referencing Christ is King, but to deliberately use that phrase was a deliberate act of provocation to people like Ben Shapiro.
I want every single person in the world to declare Christ as King, whether you believe them to be a Nazi, a white supremacist, a Jew, a Muslim. It is the phrase itself that I want declared.
Who do you want to win the war, Ukraine or Russia?
I don't want Zelensky to win. I don't want Putin to win. I believe Zelensky is just as corrupt. I believe he is a criminal. What percentage of a population has to be killed before we can use the word genocide? It's a funny little thing. They won't tell you.
She said here, I would stake my entire professional reputation on the fact that Brigitte Macron is in fact a man. With that statement, your entire professional reputation goes up in smoke.
Burn. You got me. You go, girlfriend.
I'll bet you $100,000 right now that it is established beyond any doubt that she was born a woman. Do you accept the bet, Candace?
Whoa. No. At best, Brigitte Macron is a pervert. Ooh.
Wow, that was us. That was fire. Oh my gosh. Welcome back to the channel. It's a girl, VeraMoore. And I'm back with another reaction video. Today, I'm going to be reacting to Candace Owens. And we have SmackDown. Piers Morgan tried to ambush me. Candace episode 4. Gosh. Candace. You know, they tried to cancel Candace. They tried to kick her out. In fact, they kicked her out of Daily Wire. They wanted to ruin her career, but okay, so she is up on Piers Morgan, and we're about to find out what exactly is going on. Alright guys, can't wait to get into the video. But before we get started, there's some amazing people watching us for the first time. If you're new to the channel, I'm Vera. I do reaction videos. If this is something that you love, why not join Vera City? Hit the subscribe button below, turn on the post notification bell so that you can always be the first person to know whenever a new video drops. And that's guys, let's go.
Ooh, he came for me last night, you guys, and guess what? I went right back at him. It really is a lesson in how the media works, how the media is constantly operating on our minds, and that is what we are going to get into today on Candace. All right, so we've been talking a lot about psychology this week, and it truly is the name of the game. When people hit at that figurative matrix, oh, the matrix, what is it that they're actually alluding to? What they're alluding to is the idea that there is an entire system, an illusory system really, that has been created for us, that we are virtually enslaved to this system and that our every action is being dictated by it, and that the majority of us are completely asleep to it. And so you wonder, oh, how could that be? How could that be possible? How could my actions be being informed by some system? And the answer, of course, is psychology. As I said yesterday and the day before, there are forces that are impacting your psyche every moment of every single day. And the biggest contributor to that is, of course, the media. The media black magic. So yeah, yesterday I joined Piers Morgan. The team told me it's going to be 30 minutes. We're going to talk about some things, promote your show. And of course, I already knew it was not going to just be 30 minutes. I knew he was going to throw absolutely everything at me. But I went anyways because I think it's important for people all around the world to see that you don't have to fall for these government and media initiatives. You can stand on what you believe and you can survive. And so, yes, it has been trending all over the internet, and I want to bring for you guys, in case you don't have an hour and a half to dedicate to me and Piers Morgan, really the top 5 moments. So let's jump right into it. Moment number 1, and of course I was expecting this, the mandatory Israel question. I don't know what this is, but apparently it's some sort of a religious sacrament that every media member has to go on and on and on about Israel. You literally think that I was an Israeli citizen, that we are all Israeli citizens. It doesn't make sense to me and many other people across the world why there is such an obsession and a focus on this country in the Middle East. They almost try to penalize you, to punish you for not focusing on it. And so, yes, of course, Piers Morgan came right to the table and tried to pretend that it was suspicious that I didn't tweet for days when a terrorist attack happened on a foreign country's soil. Take a listen.
And here's where I'm just curious about your tweeting through this procedure, this whole war, because on October the 7th, you didn't tweet anything. You didn't tweet anything on October the 8th. And October the 9th, you tweeted, so much world peace ever since we got the orange man out of office. So glad the adults are back in charge. A lot of people say, well, if you care this much about innocent people being killed, why didn't you say anything when 1,200 people were massacred to death in the most brutal, barbaric manner in this awful terror attack by Hamas, and nearly 7,000 more were wounded, some of them catastrophically and irreparably? Why did that not compel you to say anything?
Well, first and foremost, Israel's a foreign country, so typically I talk about topics that have to do with America. Secondly, you're only quoting my Twitter feed. I'm also on Facebook. I'm also on Instagram. I also had a daily podcast in which I did respond directly about what happened and called the events horrific. Multiple times, said what Hamas did was absolutely horrific. So you're using a snapshot of my Twitter feed where you're acknowledging that I didn't tweet for days to suggest that I didn't have anything to say about what had happened. Now, to be clear, I am consistent on all matters. I do not want America involved whatsoever in anything that is happening in Israel. I don't want my dollars sent over to Israel. We should not be supporting Israel. Obviously, Thomas Massey has done a lot of work showing how it doesn't even make economic sense that we have so much debt and yet we're sending money over to support Israel. And the biggest issue, by the way, that I have with Israel in talking about them being above reproach is the fact that they are supplying the arms to murder Christians. Okay? In Armenia, the oldest Christian country in the world, and yet nobody talks about that. For whatever reason, it seems to be the circumstance that when Jewish people die in Israel, it's wall-to-wall coverage. But when Christians die all over the world, nobody talks about it. Everyone wants to correlate everything to World War II. Everyone wants to talk about Adolf Hitler, and rightfully so, he was a horrific person. But nobody wants to talk about Henryk Yagoda, right? Nobody wants to talk about the Bolsheviks. Nobody wants to talk about the Christian Holocaust. I am tired of the media, exhausted of the media not speaking about what is happening to Christians all around the world. And it is especially horrific while at the exact same time that it is happening, the slaughter of Christians in Armenia, the arms being supplied by Israel, that the media turns the other way and says, oh, okay, but what about what's happening in Israel? So you know what I'm asking for? Actual equality. Okay, because it seems like this is like a special category, the special relationship that we have. I'm a Christian first, okay? And so my concerns are going to be with what's happening to Christians all around the world, because it is us. We are the #1 most persecuted religion in the world. And all Christians watching this need to realize the time is now to start speaking up, because we have been silenced about the things that are happening to us for a very long time. And the media is very clearly not our friend. When there is wall-to-wall coverage of Christians being killed in Armenia, Christians being killed in Nigeria, and the treatment of Christians in America and all across the globe today, then you ask me if I will use my platform and I will use my voice to speak about what's happening in Israel. How about that?
Wow. Candace, one thing I love about Candace is that she would always say the truth, regardless. She's not scared to spit facts. She's always spitting facts. She mentioned Nigeria. Yes, they kill Christians in Nigeria. I am a Nigerian. Hamas, Boko Haram. I don't know if it's Boko Haram that changed their name to Hamas, but they are a Muslim society. They are Islamic society. They are a terrorist group. They were killing Christians live on camera. They would set their camera, set the people they want to kill. They would say that Alhamdulillah, blah, 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 blah. Slit their throats. Right in front of the camera, they do all of that. Christianity is the most persecuted religion. Yes. They kill Christians because Christians are lovers of peace. We are not violent like them. Christians are not violent. They are killing Christians. Christians are not safe. That's why you hardly see Christians going to the north. We call something NYSC. There's something called NYSC where we go and serve at different states. they'll take you to a different state from where you're from. Nobody wants to go to the north because most coppers going to the north to serve, they end up killing them. So why would I want to go to the north? They don't want us there. So why would you post me to the north when they don't want me there? Oh gosh, let's go on.
How about that, Piers? And I'll tell you how about it went. Well, he obviously ended that part of the conversation immediately because there are aggressive double standards here. The idea that you can say to someone, why don't you use your platform to talk about this? And, like I scrolled through Piers' feed and it turns out that no, when Armenian Christians are being killed and being bombed, and it is a fact that Israel is supplying the arms to do that, Piers doesn't have anything to say. So why is he prioritizing Israel? He can't answer that question, so he wants to move on. It is constantly this effort to manipulate you into focusing your life and your attention on whatever they decide to press their thumbs down on. And it's not right. And that is my belief. I am a Christian. Of course, I'm going to use my Twitter feed. I'm going to dedicate my Twitter feed to things that are of interest to me. That is my right. I'm also an American. And I recognize when we look around that Americans can't afford gas, they can't afford groceries. And why can't we? Because, well, we have the media convincing us that it is our job to be enslaved economically to the borders and the interests of everybody else, but ourselves, but our families. And I don't stand for that. So what does he do? He moves on to, of course, what I also expected, trying to paint and accuse everyone of being a conspiracy theorist. What I instantly did is I threw it right back at him because as we all understand, as we are living in this post-mainstream media world, they are the conspiracy theorists. How many times has the mainstream media tried to effectively sell us something only for time to pass and us to realize they were lying about everything? And when they're caught lying about everything, they just try to backtrack. And remarkably, I said to Piers, yeah, no, you peddled the BLM and the race conspiracy theories, and then you backpedaled. You peddled the COVID conspiracy theories, and then you backpedaled. And he didn't like that so much. No. He tried to backpedal even further. Take a listen.
So do not take my one clarification about the ability of a vaccine to prevent transmission as being some great mea culpa that I think...
That's a huge mea culpa, Piers.
Well,
that's a huge mea culpa. That's a huge mea culpa. Because that means that you want people to go out and to get an experimental vaccine in their arm and encourage them not to listen to independent voices that were saying, hold on. That's a huge mea culpa. People died from the vaccine. So you're talking about people that died from not getting it. There have been scores of people who died from the vaccine. There have been scores of people like my grandfather who got the vaccine and then were dead within 1 year because it led to their dementia suddenly spreading or advancing rather in a way. Stop. I let you
you do not know that was down to the vaccine, do you?
Okay. First and foremost, they have admitted so much. They lied about the 6 feet social distancing. That just came out 2 weeks ago. And you were on the side of all of these people. So don't pretend that that's a small mea culpa. People died from blood clots pertaining to the vaccines that you were telling them to rush out and get, okay?
People died
had they have waited and perhaps listened to independent voices who understood that there was some government... No, I let you talk. I let you talk about your mea culpa. Had they have paused and listened to independent voices who have, I think, probably a greater strength when it comes up to standing up to government initiatives, because we recognize that the government is not our friend and we recognize that the government is not trying to save our lives. Maybe those people would be alive. Maybe my friends who had miscarriages and my friends who were saying that it was impacting their menstruation until the government was ready to admit that 7 months later. If you had listened to people that were telling you their own experiences, someone I know that went completely blind in one eye because of some weird ocular clots. So don't pretend that's a small thing. I just want to say, I'm happy to accept that you've changed your mind.
Let me respond.
But don't pretend it's a small thing. People died from the vaccine.
Let me respond.
And by the way, I want to be clear for people watching this. He's saying still get it. I'm saying still don't. Just so you can hear a different opinion. Do not allow the government to put that in your arm.
Okay.
God's system works. The government is not fixing you in any regard. Honestly, he didn't know what to do with that. I mean, they are so used to being able to spike the ball. The experts, that's actually how he began it. I should have showed you that portion as well. But he starts talking about how the experts, confirmed and the scientific studies confirmed. And he's just making a small mea culpa. He went out and told everyone to go get the vaccine because he thought, as he says, that it would stop transmission. And then he realized after the fact that it didn't. It was just a small mea culpa. A small mea culpa, telling people to roll up their sleeves and to inject something into their arm, just a small one, in which people had reactions to, in which they routinely lied. In fact, they treated us people who said don't get the vaccine like lepers. The people that did not want to get vaccines were treated like lepers. And he pretty much continues that if you want to go watch this full conversation when he starts pressing me in general about my perspective on vaccines. And I've been very clear. I'm not going to lie and run from who I am. I do not vax my children.
You know, I've always had an issue with that vaccine. Thank God I didn't get it, because when I get the vaccine, I don't trust anything government. Anything government, they don't handle it well. Especially in Nigeria. They don't handle it well. You can end up going to get the vaccine, and at the end of the day, you become ill, you become sick. You might, in fact, things might become worse. Because I remember at my school, we have a medical center. And there was one time my friend went there for checkup. They told her she had appendix. And they wanted to start operating her. But her dad insisted that she goes home. When she went home, they took her to a private hospital. And they said there was nothing wrong with her. So imagine if they had treated her for appendix. They would have just killed this innocent girl. In a hospital that was meant to be a government hospital. I don't trust anything government. They'll kill you and they'll tell you, oh, sorry. Sorry. That's what you will hear. They don't care. What nonsense. Let's go on.
Okay, I've dedicated an entire show to diving into the history of vaccines, because what happened during COVID, the first time people woke up to the idea that an entire ecosystem can be telling you something that is untrue, that has been going on actually for a long time. And so my job is to give people information. And of course, his job is to pretend it's all a conspiracy theory until the conspiracy theory is proven true. Which brings us, of course, to Brigitte Macron. It was trending. Piers Morgan threw down the gauntlet. He said, $100,000, Candace, to prove that Brigitte Macron is a man. Now, of course, he did this for a little bit of theater. And what he offered was, Brigitte Macron is suing the journalist that worked on the story for 3 years with genealogists and showed that Brigitte Macron simply didn't exist for 30 years. But her brother, Jean-Michel Trogneux, did exist for 30 years. And then her brother disappeared and Brigitte Macron suddenly arrived. And the two of them have never been seen together. And she refuses to answer any questions or to produce a simple photograph of herself. But the job is, of course, to make it look like these journalists and Candace telling about the story. That is so crazy. No, what's crazy is how easy it is to debunk the story, but to instead be taking people to court. So listen to what Piers Morgan had to say about that.
Where is your evidence that Brigitte Macron is transgender?
Well, I did an entire series talking about where this came from. And first and foremost, you're pretending that I'm the one that promulgated this. In fact, it was 3 journalists in France that worked on the story for 3 years.
Right.
And they teamed up with genealogists and they came across, and it was absolutely fascinating. I read the entire report, and everybody watching this, rather than listen to Piers Morgan giving you a bunch of adjectives, ridiculous, it's awful, I can't believe that she's saying this. Why don't you go pursue a primary source? Why don't you go find the articles that were written by the French journalists? Because this did not come from me. This came from French journalists. And while they were working, let me finish a statement, Piers. Okay. While they were working on this piece, the Macrons sent their secret service to interrupt this. This is not a normal thing that you do when somebody's about to publish a lie. You would just say it's ridiculous, publish it, and we'll dispute it. They sent the secret service to intimidate these journalists. They took their phones. They held them. They wanted to know everyone who was working on the piece. And what they uncovered was absolutely fascinating. What they uncovered was the fact that Brigitte Macron, who alleges that the person that they are saying is her is actually her brother, who's never been seen and who they never produced, that Brigitte Macron lived as a man for 30 years and then transitioned at the age of 30. So he's trying to tell you this is crazy, this is wacky. Why don't you just go pursue a primary source? Well, I'm not the primary source. It would be very easy to dispute this. All Brigitte Macron would have to do is produce a single photo of her in the first 30 years of her life, or to go on a little walk with her brother, who she alleges that she is not.
Show me the proof Donald Trump isn't transgender.
There's tons of photos of Joe Biden growing up.
I think Donald Trump was born a woman. Show me the proof. Okay,
there are tons of photos of Trump 20 years ago on Oprah. What are you saying?
And as a mother,
it's 30 years of living. Just show a photo of yourself. We don't need to be debating it. Just show a photo of yourself.
And as a mother yourself, you have no qualms about the hurt that you're causing her kids with this kind of claptrap.
I mean, eye roll. Please stop with the sensitivity. You've decided that you want to lead a country, okay?
Why does
Honesty
it
is
keep
demanded.
interrupting
More
her?
journalists
You
should be
wouldn't just
prodding
allow
into
her
the
speak.
story
What's with
internationally
the
to see what's
interruptions?
actually going on
Come
here.
on.
Because at
You know
best,
she's
you have a
proving a
perverted
point.
story that,
Gosh.
in my view, leads way too closely into pedophilia. Just the story of how they got together is weird. You have a allegedly gay man, the person who's had gay affairs with him has spoken out, talked about the drugs that he has done with Macron, and you have these two people who are utterly demented leading the state of France. That, my friends, is how you stand on business, okay? You're not going to gaslight the public. I saw this clip, actually, and I can't find it on the internet, but it was just the Tate brothers, and they were talking about how wrong all of the experts and all the scientists were on COVID. So how is it possible that so many people from the wrong side of the tracks, the Tate brothers, Candace Owens, got it right on COVID, not the experts? And what they implied is just all you have to do is live a little, right? A little bit of street smarts goes a very long way. All these people and their degrees, do they have street smarts?
Oh my gosh. I wish you can actually finish the whole thing, but the video is quite long. But Candace is such a blessing. She's a blessing to our community, to our society. Like, I love how she keeps spitting facts. She's talking about the COVID, and they're trying to drag her because she said Christ is king. Christ is king. Christ would always be king. And it is just insane that these people, they want to cancel her, they want to bring her down. It is, gosh. Guys, what are your thoughts? What do you think? What do you think about this video? Drop a comment down below. If you enjoyed this video, give it a huge thumbs up, and please share this video. And if you're new to the channel, join VeraCity. Hit the subscribe button below, turn on the post notification bell so that you can always be the first person to know whenever a new video drops. And that, guys, I'll see you in my next one. Bye.